Okay, welcome back. We are going to be coding the gallery page for our lawn care site today. So if you have read over the instructions in the assignment for the gallery page, you know that you need to make a slideshow. And even though the inspiration gallery wireframe shows that there are 8 images, this is just a mock-up for where the slideshow is going to go. So I'm going to show it to you in a way where you still have these 8 images down at the bottom, because I don't know about you, but I like when I go to a website and there's a slideshow option, I like also seeing the images just on their own. And the reason behind this is that sometimes you don't want to sit there and wait for the whole slideshow to load or to click through it. You just kind of want to look at the images. So I'm going to show it to you both ways. So again, when we go into our files, you're going to want to make sure you're in your site, and you're going to grab that gallery HTML page, which we have already created. And if you remember, it's going to look exactly like your index page, because we just based it off of the index page. So we'll open that up. Whoops, just double click. And there it is. It has, everything that we need basically at this point to kind of get ourselves started. We're going to base it off of that page. But if we look over at the wireframe, we don't have a big image at the top. We have one banner that goes across the entire length of our, kind of the length of our website. And then I'm going to put our slideshow in between that inspiration gallery headline and the 8 images at the bottom. And the way we're going to create that slideshow is using a pre-formatted template that's available in Dreamweaver. So Dreamweaver is going to do the code for us on this. We're going to have to tweak it a bit, but it's going to do the code. Now let's take a look at our Word page. And the only thing we have on this page for text is Inspiration Gallery, and it says it's an H1 headline. So you'll notice I crossed out all my text from the service page when we did that, because it's all done. And as soon as we finish the inspiration gallery, we can cross out that text as well. So let's get back into Dreamweaver. Because I don't need, I'm going to go into live view real quick. Because I don't need this image here, this whole banner image, I can actually get rid of this entire div. The reason why is I don't need it. That first div that's in my div row. So I'm in main, and close this up. Then I open up div row, and there's the first div row, which has div column, which has HP banner. I don't need this at all. So I can grab this whole first div row and just delete it. And that's gonna bump up my kind of my 2 column of my inspiration gallery, my meet the crew. Now I'm going to do inspiration gallery in this darker colored box. So what I can do again is, you'll notice that I have 2 1/2 size columns. I'm going to delete the inspiration gallery over here, and I'm going to do it in the meet the crew colored box, even though, well, I guess it really doesn't matter, huh? I guess you could do it in the brown so it matches up to the homepage. Why don't we do that? We'll do it in the brown so it matches up to the homepage. I just noticed it has the same exact verbiage. So I'm going to delete this one. That's one less thing we have to type too. All right. So I don't need in here, I don't need the paragraph, and I don't need the button. I just need inspiration gallery. But I'm going to need to rename some of these things because I need this to be a full bar, not a half bar. So I'm going to have to rename this div so I can make a CSS selector that will run that bar the entire length right here. And then I'm also going to need to rename this info box so I can change that up a bit as well. And I need to change this headline from an H2 headline to an H1 headline. And I'm also gonna need to add some, all right, there we go, all right. So notice as soon as I made that an H1 headline, it completely changed everything going on. But don't worry, we're gonna fix that. So I'm gonna start with the div, and I'm gonna change the name from column space column slash MD 1/2. I'm gonna change the 1/2 to full. And then I'm going to change the info box tan to info box inspiration. And I am also going to name my H1 dot inspiration. Nope, not info box inspiration, just dot inspiration. There we go. And click off. All right, so you can see now that I don't have any anything going on here except for this big space, so I'm gonna need to deal with that in the CSS designer. So let's add some CSS selectors to take care of this top part. What I wanna find is I wanna find my H1 tag. Here it is. And I am going to add a selector after that, and I'm going to name it dot inspiration, just after that. And I want to change my margin, the shorthand, to 0 pixels, which gets rid of all of that extra spacing that was added in there. And I'm going to change my padding to 10 pixels, just to give it a little bit of room. Next one I want to find is that info dark box, or that info tan box, because I'm going to make a copy of that box and just change some of the selectors in it. So I'm going to go styles.css. Oops. I'm going to start to type in info tan, select that, and it should bring it up in my code. I'm going to make a copy of this. I'm going to select the whole thing from info box tan right through the squiggly bracket, hit enter, paste it, and I'm going to rename it info box inspiration. There we go. And you can see it adds in that tan color back in. However, I do want to change some of the padding. I want to just change the padding to 10 pixels. Because I don't need that extra padding down at the bottom if I compare it to, you know, what's going on here. And I know it's a little bit bigger in my site, but it's nice to have some breathing room. All right, the next thing I need to do is I need to fix that column full. Even though it's running full, I want to actually make a selector. So I'm going to look for that column the column mid half. I need to look for the 1/2 one. There we go. And I'm going to copy that one, hit enter, and I'm going to name it full. And I'm going to change the width to 100%. And I'm going to do file, save all related files. And let's just preview that. There we go. All right. Looks great, running across the whole thing. And at this point, I only have 4 images. So I want to make sure that I have 8. So the easiest way to do that is to go back into my source code, and I can close up this div row right here, the first one, because I've already taken care of that. I'm going to open up my second div row, which has the 4 images in there. And I'm going to just duplicate the 4th image 4 more times to just put in those 4 boxes. So I'm going to duplicate 2, 3, 4. So I should have 8 boxes total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. And remember how when we were changing the images in the service page, we're going to do the same exact thing to change the images in the gallery page. So I'm going to, you can be either in split view or live view. I like to look and make sure that I haven't missed one. So I like to keep myself in split view and keep an eye on the code as I do this. We click on the first image in the source right here. I'm going to browse and go to gallery 1. Again, it should be in your images for your site. If you haven't double checked, go to files, open up that images folder, and make sure all those gallery images are in there. So that way it stays, you know, you're not adding images in from outside of your site. So again, source, browse, gallery 1. And in the alt area right here, I'm going to name it gallery 1. Then I can click on the second one, so image 2. Again, I'm going to keep doing the same thing, browse for gallery 2, do the alt at gallery 2, move on to image 3, browse to gallery 3, name it gallery 3, click on image 4, browse to gallery 4, name it gallery 4. It's very redundant what we're doing. Then I'm going to I have image 4 like 4 more times. So I'm going to click on this one. This is actually going to be gallery 5. Alt will be gallery 5. This one will be gallery 6. The alt will be gallery 6. This one will be gallery 7. The alt will be gallery 7. And last but not least, we have gallery 8 and naming it gallery 8. And again, do a file save all. And you can go in and make sure. Now we have 8 images at the bottom. Perfect. See what happens. Close it up and close it up. Looks awesome. There we go. All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to add in, I'll close this up. We're going to add in our slideshow. So like I said, the slideshow is going to go in between this row and this row. So I'm going to select this row right here, and I'm going to go up into insert carousel. It's under bootstrap components. It might be defaulted to HTML, so you might see this. So in the drop down, go to bootstrap components, and it's in the second area right here. It's called carousel. That's actually your slideshow. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to say, do you want to insert it before, after, or nested? I want to insert it after this div. So I'm going to click after. And it's going to add it into its own div right here. What I want to do is I'm going to click on row again, and I'm going to insert after. I'm going to make a div, and I'm going to call this div slideshow, right like that. And I'm going to drag that whole carousel div inside of it. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I can't actually change. You'll notice you have like Bootstrap CSS, jQuery JavaScript, Bootstrap JavaScript, and you have another media query that was added in. I can't change any of this code because it doesn't let me. It's all read only. Plus, you probably wouldn't even know what to do with any of that code if you did see it. So in order to deal with formatting the slideshow, I need to kind of put it into a div, and that's going to give me a tiny bit of control. But as soon as we did this, let me save this and I can show you. Yes, I'll save all. What that CSS that it adds does, it kind of screws up the look of my entire page. It removes the background and there's nothing you can do about it. This is going to happen. It's because that style sheet is conflicting and overriding the style sheet that I've created for the page. But because we aren't going to sit here and completely hand code a slideshow from scratch, we're just going to deal with the fact that the page is going to look different. So I just want to let you know, don't freak out. It definitely is going to, look different. And you'll notice it just has this default first slide heading, like nothing is happening basically with the slideshow yet, because we actually need to change the slideshow. So let's open it up, and you'll see when you open up that carousel1.carousel.slide, you have this ordered list called indicators. So there are 3 buttons there, 3 indicators. However, we need to have 8 of them. The reason why is that we have 8 images that are going in there. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on the last one and duplicate that 5 more times. So you have a total of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then make sure you count them all. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, perfect. And then I can close it up. So I have now I have 8 indicators. So when it's going through, it'll represent all 8 slides. And you'll notice that what it did is it changed data slide to 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, because I duplicated number 2 in the code. So you want to make sure you're in split view. I need it to go in order. So it needs to be 0, 1, 2. I need to change this one to 3, this one to 4, this one to 5, this one to 6, and this one to 7. It's always going to start at 0. So you're going to have 0 through 7, and then you can save that. And click refresh. Now let's take a look at the inner. And you will notice that there is an item, it says active, and it's named first slide image. And you have first slide heading, first slide caption, and an image placeholder. So we have 8 images. So we're going to need to copy and paste these and rename them. So I'm going to need to make 5 more. So I'm going to pick this whole div that says div item inside of carousel inner. So you'll notice, like, pay attention to where I am. I'm going to right click, duplicate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to have to go back into the code. So I have, all right, I might as well change my images while I'm here. So in the code, click somewhere in this image source, like where it says where the image placeholder is, and you're going to browse for gallery 1. Again, open. First slide image, you can leave it as that. And it says the alt is first slide image. You can leave it as that too. And I would call it, for a heading, I would call it gallery 1. What's the name of our company? I don't remember. Lawn Care Landscaping. We'll call it Lawn Care Landscaping. And we're just going to do this for all of them. And, oh, wow. Escaping. There we go. Can't spell today. Or maybe we'll call it Gallery Image 1. There we go. And I'm going to copy this right here, and I'm going to put it in a new text document. So I can just keep kind of copying that forward. Why keep retyping it? Next, I'm going to go to the second one. Again, I'm going to put my cursor in where it says images carousel placeholder. I'm going to browse. We're going to grab gallery 2, open. Make sure it says second slide image, that's fine. And I'm going to copy this, paste it, and I'm going to change it from gallery image 1 to gallery image 2, but I'm going to leave the lawn care landscaping. Next, I'm going to go to the third one. Again, I'm going to put my cursor in, browse for file, gallery image 3, third slide image is fine. Again, I'll paste that code there, change it to the number 3. Now this is where I need to start remembering to change things down here. This is going to be number 4. Let's refresh. So browse to gallery image 4, open. My alt needs to be 4th slide image. And then I will paste that code in, name it gallery image 4, fresh. And number 5 is going to go here again. I just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Put my cursor in where the image is so I can browse for my file. Number 5, change my alt to 5th slide image. You can either change it in the code or you can change it right down in here. See, it changes it up in the code. And paste that in. 5, fresh. Next will be, oops, there we go. Number 6, open. Change 3rd to 6th slide image. And paste that in. Number 6. And refresh. And number 7. Again, change the alt to 7th. Oops. Change my caption, my headline. Page 7. I mean, you can name these if you want to. It's really up to you. Placeholder, come on. Refresh. Placeholder. And number 8. 8th. Change my caption. 8. And refresh. And then do a file, save all. And let's double check it. So it should say 1. Whoops, why isn't it playing? Playing up here? Looks like it is. Let me try to. All right, there we go. You might have to preview it again. But it's like really huge right now. And this is where I had made that div, as you recall, with the slideshow, because I need to kind of deal with how big this thing is. It's a little bit too big. So I'm going to close this up right here. I'm going to go back into my CSS designer. And after, in my global, after that column I just made, what did I call it? Something full. This one. Column medium 1 full. Go to that code. There we go. I'm going to add a new selector. I'm going to name it slideshow. And under layout, I want my width to be a percentage. So I'm just going to make it 0 all of a sudden. And I'm going to say 80%. And I want to set my margin to auto on the left and auto on the right. And do a file, save all related files, and let's check it out. Oh, it didn't center it. Oh, yes, it does in here. Okay. Ooh, and I noticed I have a content for new div tag goes here. I need to take that out. That's probably right here. There it is. All right. In between my slideshow and those images is a content for new div tag goes here. I gotta remove that. Oh, and I accidentally did padding left and right auto. Whoops. I want to do margin. Hold on. Let me do that again. That's why I didn't move. Margin auto. And auto. Say, why wasn't it centered? Put it in the padding because they both look exactly alike. You would have thought that Dreamweaver would have made them look a little bit different, seeing as they're so close of what they do. So let's try saving that again. Going in. All right, there we go. Now it's centered. But this is not centered. So we're going to have to take a look at that. Hold on one second. Okay, I had paused the recording for a second because I actually just wanted to double check this. Remember how I had just said that this isn't centered? The reason behind that is the body selector in our style sheet is being overrun by the body selector in the bootstrap.css, which we can't alter. So we're just going to have to leave it left justified the way it is, which is completely fine. Again, it's one of those things because we're using pre-made code in Dreamweaver, and it comes with its own CSS, and its CSS each time is going to kind of overrun our CSS in some instances, and this is one of those instances. So this is what yours should look like when you are done. You should have inspiration gallery up at the top. You should have a slideshow. Again, make sure you're changing the headline in the slideshow, and the, you can just change that paragraph to lawn care and landscaping, or, if you want to put a little description of each photo and, go all out on it, awesome. Make sure when you add in that div, you take out that div content blurb in between the slideshow and the images down at the bottom. You can double check how it responds. So again, by adding that div and putting it in that slideshow div, it's now keeping our slideshow at 80%, so our slideshow is responding to the width of our page. And when we go down to our mobile version, it still responds, but we still have the full images down at the bottom. So that is how you create a responsive slideshow for your gallery page. And next up, we will be looking at the crew page.